Good evening. Thank you for inviting us here this evening to share the spotlight for these two amazing organizations. And thank you all for what you do for our community. Each year in the United States, about 22,000 people are diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. About half of them die within the first year. So it's a devastating diagnosis for young adults. My name is Jeff Copeland, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Jackson Copeland Foundation in St. Pete. My lovely wife, Claire, is here with me tonight as well. Our foundation's mission is to accelerate cures for leukemia while supporting patients and families who are currently in the fight. I'm also speaking to you tonight as a father. So I'd like to start off by telling you about my oldest son. Jackson was born at St. Pete General in June of 2001. He grew up in Shore Acres. He went to Perkins Elementary, Thurgood, and Sanderlin Middle Schools, and he graduated from the Finance Academy at Northeast High School in 2019. He joined the Navy Reserve as an intelligence specialist, and he returned home to drill with his unit in Tampa and attend classes at St. Pete College. He had recently paid off his first car loan. He was getting ready to move in with his girlfriend. He was a typical 20-year-old kid who was excited about his future when everything changed in March of 2022. He got a terrifying phone call from his doctor's office on a Saturday, and we in turn got a call from Jackson that no parent ever wants to hear. Mom and Dad, they told me to go straight to the hospital because there's something seriously wrong with my blood work. Claire and I were away on business. We rushed home on the next flight, and as we landed in Tampa, we'll never forget those ominous ding, ding, dings on our phone. That was the day, and that's when we learned that Jackson had been diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. Like most people, I knew very little about leukemia at the time, but I've since learned it's a brutal disease that affects every cell in your body. And the costs of leukemia treatment are staggering. After Jackson was discharged from the Navy due to his illness, he had a brief gap in his insurance coverage. This is a statement from Moffitt for 1 month of outpatient appointments in March of 2024. The total was just over $251,000, and the implications were terrifying. Even with the best insurance, the annual caps, co-pays, and deductibles are enough to bankrupt a family. In addition, leukemia patients require a 24/7 caregiver, so a family member has to quit work at the same time these medical expenses are skyrocketing. We started this foundation to help stabilize families dealing with the crushing financial burden of a leukemia diagnosis and to cure this terrible disease so that someday parents won't have to watch their child suffer like we did. For many patients, the only permanent cure is a stem cell transplant. In addition to a lengthy hospital stay, this requires the patient and the caregiver to live within 30 minutes of their treatment center for up to 4 months. Maintaining 2 households is yet another massive expense that is not covered by any insurance. St. Pete residents are not exempt. You simply cannot get stuck on the Howard Franklin with a leukemia patient who needs urgent care. St. Pete patients receiving a transplant at Moffitt have to rent a furnished apartment in Tampa while still paying their mortgage and bills back home. We've lived it. Jackson fought a courageous battle for over 2 years. Towards the end, one of his doctors came in to confirm that Jackson was making his own medical decisions, the type of questions that are reserved for end-stage patients. To be fair, Jackson was in rough shape. He had suffered through numerous rounds of chemotherapy, a bone marrow transplant, and other treatments. He'd lost over half his body weight. Wires were coming out of him everywhere, and alarms were constantly beeping. He was quite literally near death. But he sat up in his hospital bed, raised his hand, and he told that doctor, "I have not yet begun to fight." Some of you may recognize those words from Navy hero John Paul Jones. Jackson passed away peacefully at home about a week later. He was 22 years old. Jackson was always thinking about others, even in his darkest days. The battle he waged against this terrible disease lives on through his foundation, and I'm here tonight to ask you all to join the fight.